What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's the 3rd of January. We've crossed over to 2026 and well done to making it here. You've got a whole bunch of things you want to do this year. And today I want to share with you 3 things, 3 steps. The only 3 things you're going to need this year to see a different year, to see changes, to actually hit your goals for the first time when you write these things down in the beginning of the year. So, most of you guys probably haven't written down your goals, and I hope you have. And if you haven't, that's the first step. Before any of the steps I actually have planned, the first thing you got to do is write them down. Now, welcome to the channel for the first time. This is the Humble Orange channel. I'm Kati Nkateko Valoy. I've been doing personal development for 10 years since I was about 16, 11 years actually. So going on 12. And I have managed to build a successful sales career in remote sales and software sales. I have gotten married. I am an amateur bodybuilder with dreams of doing much more. And I've been able to turn my life around from somebody who did not believe in themselves, who lacked confidence and was told by the school system they were never going to be anything. I managed to make something out of myself. So hopefully you guys get a lot of value from this and are able to see some growth in your own life from it. So jumping straight in, step 1. The thing that you guys are missing the most is when New Year's comes around and you get your book out and you get your pen out and you get real serious about everything and you remember that you're a motivated, hardworking person who's really going to make it. And you completely forget that there's a whole bunch of things in 2025 that happened that you have not accounted for. You haven't accounted for the fact that there's probably a whole bunch of goals that you haven't achieved. And there's probably a bunch of goals that you had no idea you would achieve this year, but you did. And you have no idea what the difference was. You don't know why you got or achieved the goals you did, and you don't know why you didn't achieve the goals you wanted to achieve that you couldn't. So, step 1 is reflection. Step 1 is always reflection. This is an amazing time to reflect on things during the holiday times. Now, given this video is coming up probably in the back end of the holidays, so I completely understand, use this on the weekend. You need to sit down and look at what happened. Imagine you're looking at your story, the story of your life, the story of this year, and you've gone through this chapter of your life, the chapter for 2025, and you've finished the chapter and nobody's done a review. You've been writing this chapter, you've written this chapter out, but there's no review done. It doesn't go to anyone to be reviewed on whether there's bad grammar, poor storytelling, mistakes. You need to look at 2025 and go over it and think about, well, I started this year with certain things in mind. I knew what I wanted to achieve in the beginning of 2025. What changed between the 1st of January and the 31st of December that didn't allow you to get those things done? That's the first question. What happened? It's broad. It's what happened? Right? So you need to look back. The things that you said you're going to achieve. You said you're going to get in the gym and you're going to lose 10 kgs. You're going to look lean and put on muscle. And then you also said that you're going to double your income. And you also said you're going to start a career. And you also said you're going to learn how to cook. So whatever you call it. You have all these things down. We need to look at what it is that you were able to do. And what it is that you weren't able to do. And what it is that you were able to do that you did not expect or plan to be able to do. But you achieved it. So I want you to write all these things down. Write down what happened this year. Write down what you didn't achieve. Write down what you did achieve. Write down what you would have liked to achieve. Another question you have to ask yourself upon reflection is, did I become the person in 2025 that I was aiming to become? So we're not just talking about the goals you wanted to achieve. So now we've done an assessment of the goals. Here are the goals I had in the beginning of 2025, and here's how 2025 ended, and here's what I achieved and didn't achieve. Now, second point within this reflection is you need to look at, did I become the type of person that I wanted to become in 2025? I had a vision of who I wanted to be in 2025. And did I become that person? Did I achieve that vision? Right? I know for myself, I definitely had things that I wanted to do. Getting married was one of them, and I am now married, so happy about that. Right? And definitely having a successful off-season full of growth was definitely on the cards. It was one of the major goals I had this year. And did I achieve that? Yes, I did. It could have been better. I do guarantee that though. It could have been better. It's hard to gauge these things sometimes with bodybuilding specifically, because of its nature. And yes, you progress regardless, but then you're also very conscious of whether or not you could have progressed better. So I then look at it from that angle. Yes, I achieved the goal, but I think it could have been achieved better. And hopefully going into the new year, it can be achieved even better. And I had other goals, right? One is to move, get YouTube consistent and moving again. So again, similar to off season 1, I don't think that YouTube is perfectly consistent, but I think it's the most consistent I've been, which is what I was really, really happy about this year. So what I'm saying is that you need to then look at, okay, cool, here are the goals, and then here's the assessment. Now, did I become the type of person I wanted to become this year? Right? Did I become a good husband? Did I become somebody who's disciplined? Did I become somebody who's able to stick to the habits that they set in their lives, be able to work as hard as possible? Right? So you need to not just think about the things you did, but the person that you are now. And this is going to come back all down to something that you can put within the second and third point here is going to be habits. Because who you become and who you are is formulated by a lot of things, and one of which being your habit. So we're not just looking at the goals and then looking at who you became, but the habits that made you become that person. When you woke up, did you look at your phone right away? Did you wait a bunch of time scrolling on Instagram? I know I did. I know I did. There's a reason I don't have Instagram anymore. There's a very good reason I don't have Instagram anymore. So you have to think about it. How often am I scrolling on Instagram? This is a bad habit. I do it every single morning, right? This is what's going through your head. Every morning you wake up and you switch off the alarm clock and then you're scrolling Instagram. Or in the middle of the workday, as you're supposed to be working, focusing, because one of your goals is to make more money that year. So you're really, really putting in all this effort. And then all of a sudden you see a blip on your screen and it's a WhatsApp. And then you check the WhatsApp, but you're already on the phone. So you might as well open Instagram. And now you're on Instagram and you have to just check the stories. And now that you check the stories, you just saw something interesting and now you're in a reel and now you've been watching reels for 30 minutes. So realistically, right? Like these are the habits I'm talking about. The time you got up. Did you go for the walk you wanted to go for every single morning? Did you drink water the way you want to drink water every single day? So you now need to make an assessment of the habits that were in your life. And how many of these habits did you manage to keep that were good? How many new healthy habits did you manage to really put into your life this year in past 2025? And how many didn't you? How many habits did you start but you dropped? How many bad habits did you pick up? And we need to be really, really honest with this reflection because nobody's going to see it. It's only for your eye. But if you don't reflect on what happened last year, everything else I'm going to tell you right now is an absolute waste of time. You don't want to reflect on 2025. You can end the video right now. End it right now. Go continue writing the goals that you're not going to achieve and forget about it. Because you have no idea what stopped you last year from doing what you wanted to do. And if you don't know what stopped you last year, how are you going to stop those things from getting in your way again? You can't. You're absolutely going to get in your way again. Right? Because the year crossed over doesn't mean you're just magically a brand new person. No, not at all. Change is a gradual process. It's timeless, tedious, slow. Now you have a moment, you're ready to change. But the process of making changes in your life is slow sometimes. So if you don't have a picture of what got in the way, it's so hard to take the next step. So you need to reflect on the habits that stopped you, the habits that you achieved, the habits that you wanted to take on, that you kept from 1st January to 31st December. And thank you. Clap for yourself and be happy that you did that. Right? Be happy for the wins. Be happy for the fact that you managed to achieve certain goals, even if you didn't get all of them. Be happy for the fact that you managed to keep certain habits, even if you didn't keep all of them. And be happy that maybe you got 10% closer to being the type of person you want to be. The type of man, the type of woman that you actually want to be, that you see when you look at a version of the future that you can be proud of. You see that person. And you've gotten maybe not 10 steps closer to that person, but maybe 2, which is a good improvement from where you were before. Okay, so step 2. Step 2, extremely pivotal, right? Because you cannot do step 3 unless you've done step 2. That is why they're in order. Step 2 is you need to look at your capacity. Now that you've reflected on 2025, you have a picture of what got in the way and how many of the goals you were able to achieve. What this picture is going to tell us is, looking at the landscape of your life, how full is it of things, of just things things that you have to do, things that you have no option but to do, to go to work, to pick up your kids, to spend time with your wife, to whatever, right? How full is your life right now? Because you need to understand. It's so pertinent that you understand. To get from here to there, you've got to give up here. To pick this pen up, I have to give up the emptiness in my hand. So to get from A to B, something has to be given up, let go of. You always sacrifice something. You shouldn't assume that you can just keep doing more. And I mean, I was watching, there's two, I think, things that come to mind. One that's recent, one that I watched a long time ago. So I remember watching Grant Cardone give this talk, not even a talk, just in his class speaking. And it struck me very much because he was very, he really touched strongly on the point of, to get from here, I have to give up. To get from here to there, I have to give up over here. And he said that every point in his life where anything ever changed, when he experienced massive growth, he had to give up something. And he spoke about how it was friends at first, and it was a relationship that he was really in love with, someone he really loved. He had to give up locations and houses he really loved. He's had to give up a lot of things, freedom, time. And what you realize is that you're trying to plant, you're trying to grow a garden and plant flowers, but you got to pull the weeds out, and that's gonna hurt, right? If you're a garden, right? Let's just imagine in your head you're a garden, and now I'm gonna go pull a weed out of you. You don't understand how sore that is. Have you ever had like a pimple extract or taken out, like, or had your hair pulled out of you, like someone just plucked the hair out of you? It is extremely painful. That's why it hurts, when you have to remove things before you can add. And I mean, Chris Williamson recently gave a really great example, which was that if you go to the buffet table and you fill your plate up, you can't assume that your stomach will expand to fit all the food that's on your plate. You know, likelihood you're going to waste some food. And this is why understanding capacity is so important. I have struggled so much with this. As someone who really wants to do a lot of things and really wants to achieve a lot of things with this given year and has really big dreams that I want to be able to get to, it's so easy to make the mistake that you think you're just going to rise to the occasion of this insane workload that you've never been able to reach before. And yes, you can achieve insane workload. But what I'm saying here is, you've got to get a picture of your existing capacity. Because if you don't know how full your cup is, you have no idea how much you can add and when to stop adding before you overflow it. And this is why a lot of good people give up. I think personally, this is why most people's goals don't make it to 31st of January. It's because there's too many. There's too many. And we can just look at this logically. If you're going to sleep 8 hours and you're going to work 8 hours, that's 16 hours. If it's going to take you 2 hours in total, if you take across the entire day to eat, right? I'm just throwing out a ballpark here. Now that's 18 hours. You don't need to do menial stuff. Go to the toilet, this, that, the other, get out of bed, wake up, brush your teeth. Stupid things. Just give that another hour or two. We're at 20 hours. And that's one of your goals to get in shape. You go to the gym, that's 2 hours. Now you've got 3 other goals on top of that. When are they going to go? Where are they going to go? Where? Show me. There's no space. There's no space. So it's so important that you get a realistic idea of your capacity. Look at your day to day. Look at your weekends. And then look at how much space there really is. In terms of numbers, quantify this. Write this down. I've got to work this many hours, sleep that many hours, do this many hours spending time with my family, and this many hours are going to go to the gym, and that many hours are going to go, oh, crap, I don't have any more. You see what I'm saying here? Because when you write these down, you have these, you write down all these goals, you have these big, massive, superfluous goals that are just huge and inspiring, and you're starting out the year strong, and you got the Goggins motivation going, and you got the Hormozy thing in your head, and he's like, if you want to be exceptional, you have to be the exception. And you just, guys, look, put it in. Your life has things in it already that exist. And there are things that you can put down and let go of, and there are things you probably can't. I mean, you gotta eat. So you gotta go to work most of it. So that's 8 hours gone already. If you have to commute to work, boom, depending on how far you commute, that's another hour or two added. So I just really want you guys to think about, like, how big is your tummy? Because right now you have no idea how big your tummy is. And you just put a whole bunch of food in it. You got to think about what your capacity already looks like. Because when you've done your reflection, you've probably realized something when you've done this reflection. You've realized that oftentimes the thing that you keep saying when you have these goals and why you couldn't achieve them was, I just didn't have time. I just didn't have the time to do it. I ran out of time. And it's so much I got to do. Now, yes, is there an argument to be made for the fact that you've probably put around a bunch of nonsense in your life and that nonsense is in the way of the goals and you have to just let it go? But is it nonsense or the things you really like to do and need to intentionally accept that to be able to achieve those goals, you have to let go of those things? And step 3, actually writing down the goals. Now we put pen and paper down, open it up, write the goals down. So when you write your goals down, what are we doing here? First thing, because we talked about capacity in the previous step, the thing is that what I've learned after years of literally trying to achieve different goals, of doing New Year's resolutions, of like reviewing the year, of planning what I want to achieve out of the year, here's what I've learned. I've learned that no matter who you think you are, you really can only go after one or two things. And maybe 3. That's stretching it. And I'm not talking about like smaller goals, right? So, like examples, right? I have a goal to finish the Bible, right? I'm listening to the audio Bible right now, and one of my goals is to finish the Bible. Yeah. I have a goal to spend more time with my wife and have better dates with them. I have a goal to continue to progress in my off season, right? So to have a better off season this year, the plan is to stay as in shape as possible and making as much growth as possible. So these are some of the smaller goals, but these are not the huge goals for me. These are not massive goals for me right now. These are not the goals that are going to direct the entire direction of how I map my year out. So what I'm talking about here is there's goals that you need to have. They're going to be 1 or 2 goals. And these goals are going to determine most of your decisions for the year. And when you make these goals, you're going to understand the sacrificing of other things in your life is going to be for these particular goals. So you're going to understand that, yes, you have things in your life. Now we have reflected on last year. Because you reflected on last year, you understood what got in the way of you achieving your goals. We've thought about the capacity, how much you can handle. Not someone else. Not how much David Goggins can handle. Not how much your friend can handle who's managing to juggle, like, to stay in shape, to have a wonderful marriage, to 10x their business, and you're looking at them and they're running on 4 hours of sleep and 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. So everyone's going to be different. I'm talking about what you can handle. So it's very important when looking at what you're able to take on that you don't look outside too much. Because the thing is, you need to be conscious of your own capacity. Now that you are conscious of your own capacity, you write down the goal. You pick 1 or 2 things that are going to determine the trajectory of this year for you. And then with these 1 or 2 things, you're going to pick somebody that you're going to speak to them about. Right? I did this with my nephew and my brother, and also with some of the goals a little bit with my wife. But I sat down with them, and it's important that you do this because we really honestly only think properly when we're having a conversation about the thing. Like, you assume that you're able to really think in depth, but probably not. In most cases, while you speak to people, you are developing the idea in that conversation. So as you talk to somebody, you're forming, creating, and molding and growing the idea that you had in your head. So as you speak about this goal, right? And I'm not just talking about a brief conversation, I'm talking about really having a in-depth conversation about the goal that you want, its purpose, why you want to achieve this goal, what it means to you, where it comes from. Then the thing itself, how are you going to achieve this goal? What changes are you going to make? What are you going to sacrifice for it? What are you going to put down for it to be able to do this? And then the third thing, the quantifiable metrics of success for this goal. What does success in this goal look like? I just shared this conversation this morning with a friend, and it was like, okay, cool. If we're going to talk about consistency in the gym as an example, which is his goal, what is that? What does it mean? What is consistency? How often is consistency? Is it every day? Is it 3 times a week? Is it 5 times a week? What is it? You need to put a metric. You need to quantify what the goal is. So you need to write down and decide that if I say my goal is to lose 20 kg or lose 10 kg, how do I know I'm succeeding? Okay, well, I've got my calorie deficit and now I'm going to the gym, right? So we've got metrics. The goal, 20 kg, 10 kg. Let's call it 20. Okay. Our goal is to do 20 kg. Underneath that goal, how am I going to do this? I need to be consistent in the gym. What does consistency mean? It means I go to the gym between 3 and 6 times a week. Okay, cool. It also means that I finish at least 4 of those workouts that are going to go to the gym. Perfect. And it also means that I eat perfectly on plan at minimum 5 times of the week, but ideally 7 times of the week. I stay on this meal plan that I've got 7 days a week. And then it means that I drop a minimum of 0.25 kilograms a week, right? And maximum of 0.75 kilograms a week. So now what we're doing here is creating quantifiable metrics. First, as you speak with the individual, you develop the idea into more and more, depth. You give it meaning, make it more robust, right? You create an idea that actually has some oomph behind it. It's no longer just a blow of wind, just a thought, just the dream of a better body or the dream of more money in your life or whatever, or the dream of more happiness in your life. No, we've got anything and everything can be put down to quantifiable metrics. It can be put down to quantifiable metrics. Like even your happiness can be put down to a quantifiable metric. If we define what happiness is for you, we work with those metrics. Okay, happiness means to me that I'm able to spend more time with my friends, more time with my family, that I'm able to spend more time meditating. What's more time? Okay, how much time are you spending with the friends and family right now? Seeing them once every 3 weeks, once a month? Okay, cool. So more time means what? Is that every week? Is it every second week? Is it every week? Okay, cool. Every week. Great. So now we know that your happiness increases when you spend more time with family and friends. And you're going to now see your family and friends once a week because you're seeing them once a month. And you're going to increase it to once a week. And that's the metric of success for increasing your happiness. You get what I'm saying here? So what's so crucial, guys, is that why we fail at goals and why we even feel like failures at goals when we don't even fail is because you don't even know what success or failure is. You haven't defined what success or failure is. So how do you know when you fail? And how do you know when you succeed? How do you know when you're winning? And how do you know when you're losing? This is the thing that's going to be so pertinent in this process is that you need to know and quantify what a win or loss is. You need to quantify what progress and success is. You need to have a minimum for the thing you want to do and the ideal for the thing you want to do, a best case and a worst case. We keep you within the range of still you're achieving your goal. Within this range, you're still achieving your goal. When you fall out of this range, we're failing. When you go over and above this range, you're succeeding even more. You're going above and beyond. But anything within this range is the goal. It's a success. So we need to have quantifiable metrics because when you have quantifiable metrics of what you want to achieve to get you there, you're able to really see what winning and losing looks like, what succeeding at your goals and failing at your goals looks like. And half the reason most of you guys give up is because you don't have these. A lot of the reason people give up is because they don't even know when they're winning. So like you say, I'm going to go to the gym every day. That's not a great goal. But let's say I'm going to go to the gym all the time, every day, no matter what. No matter what happens, I'm going to go to the gym every single day this year. And then you miss one day. Then you miss 2 days. You miss 3 days. Now you feel like crap about yourself. Now you hate yourself and you just give up the whole thing because you've messed up the streak. But the streak doesn't matter. Now let's say you said I'm going to manage to be consistent at the gym, and consistency means 3 to 6 times a week. And if I make it 3 to 6 times a week, I've done a good job. Barring any, catastrophic event. And you make it to the gym 3 times a week, 1 week. You say that wasn't the best week, but it's a good week for me because it still remained consistent. And then you make it 6 times to the gym and you're like, that was a fantastic. And you make it 7 times to the gym and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I'm so happy. I'm excited with how well I've done. These metrics are not just because it's easier to track how well you're doing, but it helps your self-esteem. When you don't feel down in yourself for the fact that you didn't achieve a goal that you never really set because you had no idea what achievement even was. To even achieve the goal, you need to know what achievement is. And I've made a lot of videos, about all this process, about failure, about 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 the goals for 2025 and different things. And look, I highly recommend you guys go check it out. That's going to be able to help you in your process, especially around things like failure, right? As you fail, you're going to need to know what to do and how to figure out the days that don't work out well. I want you guys to really take to heart what I said today because I want you to win. I want you to achieve your goals this year. I want this year to be a different year for you. But don't fill it full of things. Don't put random stuff in it. Don't throw a bunch of things in your time on your calendar that you don't want to have there that don't align with your actual purpose and your goals for this year. So just to quickly recap. Step 1, reflect on 2025. Think about the goals you wanted to achieve and what you did achieve and what you didn't achieve. Really think about it. Think about the person that you wanted to become in 2025, and did you become that person? How close did you come to becoming that person? Step 2, look at your capacity. How much can you actually take on? And based off of the reflection, you have an idea of what got in the way from last year to get a better picture of what's going to get in the way this year and how you see where you've put too much in your life. Get a good picture and assessment of your existing life as it is and see how much time you actually have to put into these new goals. And step 3, write these goals down, talk to somebody about it, and create quantifiable steps that are going to define success and failure, that you know when you're winning. And you can pat yourself on the back because you really are trying hard. Give it your best this year, guys, and I hope that you achieve your goals. And please, 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 in the comments, write down what your goals are for this year. Just give me 1 or 2 goals, and if you're generous, 3 goals that you want to achieve this year. Share with us, in the comments why. What are the goals you want to achieve this year? What are some of the things you got out of this video as far as being able to reflect? I hope it really helped, and I hope it helps you with the progress of your goals. And if you do these exercises, please come back and share how they helped you. So yeah, guys, I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope that your 2026 is an amazing one. Hope you only have blessings and winning for this year coming, and that, well, we also see. We'll see you on the next one.